Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Toku Topics. Today I'm going to be doing a little comparison video between both versions of the Dino Megazord from the Zord Ascension Project Lightning Collection. So now that I have both of them, the regular color version and the NFT version, I figured might as well just show the two of them off. I mean, they are the same exact toy, just in a different color scheme, but there is a little bit of differences between the two of them, mainly with the box itself. So we're going to go ahead and of course start with the two boxes, which take up a lot of space on their own. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to show both of them off here, but this is kind of the best angle I have, and what we're going to kind of work with here today. So as you can see, the boxes are virtually identical from the fronts, but there's a little bit of differences there. With the regular color version here, you have MZ0101 Mighty Morphin Dino Megazord, which is, of course, the numbering system that we're going with this. But for this one, the NFT one, you have MZ0101.2, which is kind of the 0.2 is supposed to be the special color scheme. It even says special edition here, which is obviously something that's not featured on the different version. There's also kind of that same kind of like, almost looks like audio bars thing that isn't here, that's kind of there. It's very interesting. It actually has, looking at it there, is that something? Because right here it looks like it has a little extra thing for like the 0.2, but those are a little bit different. I'll take a picture and kind of try to show that off a little bit better, but there's definitely a little bit of a difference between the Zord Ascension Project logo on the two of these, which is very interesting. Now also kind of looking at it here, obviously you have the actual color scheme of the two Megazords there, and that being, the biggest difference signifier thing besides the side of these. But there's even a little bit of differences on that actual piece itself, which we'll take a look at in a second. But first I do also want to show, and since I kind of was blocking the other side of it from the frame, obviously it's the same kind of thing over here. Lightning Collection logo, plastic free packaging, and the Hasbro logo with the 15 plus on both sides. And of course this whole thing has a kind of red outline, where this has like a yellow outline, so that's kind of a different thing. Now one of the biggest differences on the sides of these, or is the sides of these, where they have, as I can try to fit them into frame here, they have unique artwork, which is definitely something that I was not expecting. So as you can see, the regular color version has this really cool artwork of him, and this one has this really cool artwork of him, but they actually did get a completely different artist, I believe so, to do completely different art for the two different versions. So it is unique. So it's not just like taking this one and like making it black and gold or something like that. It's actually completely different. And then on the side, the other side, you have the Zord diagrams there, which say the same things. They say, Zord instead of Megazord, 0101, point A, point B, or, point A, point B and everything. But over here it says point 2A, point 2B, point 2C, that kind of thing. And obviously has the black and gold color scheme of the two Zords there, which there's a big glare right there. But like I said, this is pretty tricky to try to fit everything in the frame. I'll kind of move it up a little bit better. But yeah, it's just so big boxes that I have to be fully zoomed out and everything for them as well. And then taking a look at the backs, we have a little bit of a difference as well. So basically for this one here, they actually have the barcode and everything on the bottom, which we'll take a look at in a second. But over here, it says 1/144 scaled model. They're just right there on the back and has the barcode there. But the copyright kind of stuff is basically in the same area. This little recycle thing is moved over a little bit. This is red there. This is not that. They do have, interesting, so like that kind of like logo difference that I am probably going to put up on screen right now actually. It is actually kind of like brailled kind of on the side here. So I don't know if that actually, maybe that actually is braille. I doubt that. I don't know. It's very interesting that they have a little bit of a difference there. They also have the Megazord in a completely different pose on both of these, which is also very interesting to me. You think they would have just taken this and make it, black and gold for this one, but they did not. They did that for these, for the cockpit photos, and for the tank mode picture, which I think is a little bit smaller on this one. And in the Rangers, they just color coded them all gold there as well. They actually decided to make different pictures, which is, like I said, kind of interesting. Right here on screen is going to be a picture of the product number for the regular Megazord and a picture of the product number for the black and gold. Since they are two different products, they are recognized as that on the boxes. They do have two different product numbers and two different barcodes, so that's just one of the things that's a little bit different between the two. Here's the top of the boxes, which of course has MZ0101 and MZ0101.2, and kind of has that whole red and gold kind of, this one has the red, this one has the gold kind of thinner yellow outlines, and it has that same kind of difference with the little symbol there under the Z, but for the most part is very similar. And we'll go ahead and take the regular box and flip that upside down. But the black and gold on top. So the black and gold, wow, you can really see me in the reflective of that. It is much more barren of just that kind of engraved Z. And down here on the regular one is where they put the 1/144 scale. It's where they put the barcode and all the safety stuff. And another thing about plastic-free packaging. So definitely a little interesting there that they have that kind of difference. Here they are with the slip cases off, and as you can see, there's a little bit of difference between the two of them. What's interesting is that the regular color version has a lot more of this sort of technological background, as it's kind of the best I can describe it, with these little pixel kind of areas, and the kind of design back here is just kind of these little straight lines. So I think that that's definitely very interesting. Now the little symbols up here are the same on both of them from what I can tell. The QR codes are the exact same. They both lead to the Hasbro Zord Ascension project website that they set up specifically for this section of the Lightning Collection, which I will be leaving a link to in the description below. It has a little bit of a detailed thing about both of these versions, but that's it. No Dragon Zord or Astro Megazord or anything like that up there for some reason. You have a little bit of like a glitch effect kind of on here. It's kind of, I guess I would say that kind of for the whole thing. You kind of have like little glitch effects all over the place. Well, it's a lot more cleaner and stuff on the black and gold one. You also have like these little shines kind of all over it that are not present here. So just different little interesting, unique things that they've done with this. And then, of course, the tops are essentially the exact same. You just kind of have more of the red on the regular one and more of nothing, I guess, on the bottom one. And then same thing on the other side there. And then here we have the bottom of the boxes. So this one is the NFT one. This one is the regular one. I know I kind of keep swapping the boxes back and forth, but the red one is the regular one, and the gold one is the black and gold NFT one that both have that big giant Z there, which is pretty nice. So now, of course, we get to the interiors of the boxes. So taking off the little slip covers there, I do want to show off the fact that both of these actually have, just like the sides of the box, they have unique artwork, which they've actually done differently for both of them. So here they are. So they're both of the Megazord fighting Goldar in a different pose. So on here you kind of have him sort of, it's almost like a, looking up angle, like if you were on the ground or something, seeing the giant Goldar and the giant Megazord fighting above you. And then here you have the NFT black and gold one punching Goldar in the face. So it could like almost be sort of the continuation of the same art piece or kind of thing. Like this is about to happen with this one or something. But yeah, they did make brand new unique artwork for both of these, which is really, really cool. And then, as I try to get these out of the way the best that I can, you of course have where the Zords themselves go. So both of these have the same sort of Zord kind of cockpit console kind of look going on here. But obviously with the regular one, you get it just with kind of a kind of silvery sort of background. And on here, you get it with the gold kind of background, of course. So the actual Zords are not in here right now. Both of them have been taken out for the rest of this video, which will be actually comparing the two of them together. So let me just move all the different flaps. As you can see, there's just a bunch of empty tissue paper from where the Zords are supposed to be. But yeah, that's the interior. Nothing too crazy there. I just kind of have that whole sort of red for the regular, gold for the special version, kind of whole theme going on here. They changed the printing on the instruction manuals. So as you can see, on the special one, it's a special edition. It has the 0.2 after the the whole MZ0101 thing, but on the regular version, it's just that. But besides that, the interior of these are the exact same. So they show you how to transform them the exact same. They also did change the little logo up there with the little lines, just like they did on the exterior of the box. And kicking off the comparisons here, we have both of the T-Rexes. So both of these look really cool in their own regards. I definitely like little things like the blue eyes being red now, because of course the red eyes would blend in with the regular red color scheme there, or like the little green on the torso now being red, and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, yeah, these both look pretty good. I definitely do like what they've done in terms of what they've chosen to make black and gold with this. Kind of looking at the sides there. There is both of those, and of course the tail, like all the silver is now the gold and that kind of thing. All the red around there is gold now, which I just think it does look really nice in both kind of angles and everything there. So there's the two of them there if he's going to stand. And then on the back, we have that kind of thing going on. So obviously, same exact like toy, just different color scheme. And of course we do have the little cockpits in there, which can be sometimes a little hard to open up. But there is the regular one. Let me go ahead and open up the black and gold one so I can show off the two comparison there. So there is the gold, black and gold one and the regular red one, which I think definitely do stand out more on the black and gold than on the regular color version. But still, really like how both of these guys turned out. Both kind of have the same sort of issues where the peg is a little difficult to get out of the little shins there for when you do any kind of combinations. But you know, it's kind of the biggest and most prominent Zord of the Megazord. I think either color scheme looks pretty sweet. My personal favorite of the original 5 Dinozords here, the Mastodon, is definitely the one that's the most similar between the two color schemes, just because it is already the Black Ranger Zord. But I do like both of them quite a bit. Thanks Motorcycle Guy in the background, really making this easy. But I do like both of them here for a lot of reasons. All the black and gold color scheme always makes these sort of look like an evil version of the Zords or something like that. But what's just really fascinating to me is just kind of the changes to, like, they made all the green red there, but they made all the yellow kind of that gold. But like a lot of like the face doesn't change too much because it's already kind of that black, gold, and red, or yellow, I guess, on the regular one. So it doesn't really change too much when you make the whole thing black and gold. And then I do mention this later on in the Megazord part of the video, the full-on combination. But it is interesting to me that they made everything that's silver here gold except for the actual trunk. They kept that black. I think it does look nice, but I also think it's kind of weird that they didn't just go ahead and make this piece gold as well. But you know, on the sides here, they also made the background, the white around the M, the red, instead of the actual like M itself still being red. So that's definitely interesting. Anything that's yellow here, they made dark gold, and they removed this yellow completely to make that black. So I think that's definitely an interesting choice. Now, kind of turning it to the back here, it looks the exact same, except for the feet, of course, being the different color scheme, and then the sides are obviously always going to be the same. And then looking at the feet itself, just the same exact thing, just, you know, that kind of gray plastic being replaced with the gold plastic. But I think it works for the Mastodon in both degrees. And we can open up the little cockpits, which is a little hard to get this one. I always kind of have to like use some friction, hope that it gets caught on my finger. There we go. So of course, with the Black Ranger being in a Black Ranger, like, you know, plastic color Zord, it definitely makes it blend in a lot in the regular one, but the gold definitely makes it stand out here on the NFT version. So there is the little cockpits from the Mastodon. So here are the two Triceratopses here, which of course are going to be very similar, as all of these are going to be. But as you can see, you have all that blue, now black, and they changed the sides to be the white to now be gold, and that kind of stuff. So anything that's kind of black on here as a little detail was turned into gold, except for the actual like black on here right here is just kept black. They painted his little feet or little hands from silver to gold now. The heads are pretty much the same. It's interesting because you definitely lose, you know, like that yellow detailing that you have here. It did not become gold here because they just decided to make all the white gold. So it's kind of an interesting little design choice there to kind of translate the color schemes. And then here is the side of him, looking pretty nice there. And then the little back pegs there. The interior plastic for the combination is gray on the regular color, or the regular color version, compared to the black peg there. And then, of course, the interiors are changed from gray to gold. And then, basically, they kind of made the black that's right there, like right there and there, gold on this one. You can see that kind of right there and there. And they made the tails. You can still move the little cannons and everything like that, which don't necessarily move independently, especially on this one. It's a lot easier to move them on my regular color version than this one. And I'm actually recording this part after my Megazord one, so you actually see me loosen these finally to be able to move them on the Megazord part of this video. So kind of a little foreshadowing there for when we're going to get to that point later on, because I am recording this a little bit out of order. But yeah, you can still kind of angle the little cannons and stuff like that, which I think is a neat little feature. And looking underneath here, because the side pieces always want to fold in, but looking underneath the two Zords, they did basically, you know, kind of move up a little bit. Essentially, they just kind of made the treads kind of blend in with the plastic now. And then I do want to go ahead and show off the little cockpit comparisons between the little gold Blue Ranger in there. It's almost like that gold Billy statue from the end of Season 2 or something like that. So there's the two little Blue Rangers in their little cockpits on both versions of the Triceratops. Of course, next up we have the Sabertooth Tiger here, which I definitely think looks really cool in the black and gold color scheme, but I've always liked this, like, you know, just regular yellow that's been here. So as we can see here, they've kept like the red on these little areas, which is interesting that they didn't keep the red on the sides here. You know, they changed all that red to gold and kind of removed the blue and everything like that as well. So just kind of interesting, you know, just to see where Hasbro has changed the color scheme on these, and they kept the red like on the top of the cockpits and everything as well. So just, you know, definitely little interesting things like that. I do like that they made the little nose gold, so that way it wouldn't just blend in with the black plastic there. I think that's a nice little detail that they've changed. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, they're very, very similar, of course, comparing the two of them. Inside, they changed all that gray plastic to gold. The bottoms here are going to be basically the exact same. I will say that my regular color version is a little bit more looser on like this joint right here than this one is, but not by like a ton, you know, not by like a huge considerable amount or anything like that. But I do think that these both turned out pretty nice in their respective color schemes, and I'm not really sure exactly which one I like better here. So kind of neat. It almost makes this one look sort of like a panther or something with the black color scheme. And then of course this one here, showing off the little cockpits, the black and gold one has never really like fully collapsed in for me. It's always kind of like always raised a little bit. This one is definitely a lot more how it's supposed to be. And then being the Yellow Ranger, the gold already kind of works for her in that one there, so just kind of interesting to see. It's a little bit more defined, I feel like, on this one, just because it does kind of get lost in the yellow plastic all around there. But still, nonetheless, I love those little details that they've gotten on these. And I think Sabertooth Tiger turned out pretty good in both of the color schemes. And finally, before we get into any combined modes, we have to compare the Pterodactyls. So as you can see here, they obviously are very, very similar. So in every other kind of color scheme with this, as you've seen already in this video, anytime that there's yellow on the Megazord, they made that kind of darker gold to kind of match the whole thing. And a lot of silver areas or gray areas were turned gold for this as well. And I like it. I like both of these for different reasons. I think that this one, obviously, you know, being the Pink Ranger Zord, it only has a little bit of pink on it. So that's always been kind of a weird thing about the Pterodactyl's design. And for this one, it's definitely a much more with that uniformity color there. I think it makes it kind of look a little nicer, but I like both of these for their own reasons. And I'm going to talk about this with the Megazord later on as well. But I do think that the kind of chest pattern there looks a little bit better on the black and gold than it does here, just because of how Hasbro has changed the design of this, because it's never supposed to be the kind of this honeycomb hexagon-ish pattern, whatever that's supposed to be. But you know, here I think it looks a little bit better, just kind of being a special color version in the first place. So of course then the interiors of these, which are going to kind of fall over, it's definitely a lot less painted inside the black and gold one, where they just kind of turned that pink into that same kind of red to feature all over the place and gave it a black neck compared to the silver one. But I definitely think that this one is going to win on the interior, just because it is a little bit more different and a little bit more colorful, and this one is just a little bit more bland. But then again, either way, in pretty much any combination of this thing, you're never going to see the interior of the Pterodactyl, because it's always going to be like on the back with tank mode, with the tail of the T-Rex kind of like laying inside, or of course being the chest of the Megazord, you're never really going to see it. And then of course, I do want to show off the cockpits, so we'll open that one, and we will open this one, which are, you know, a little tight, a little tough to get in there, but there is the gold Pink Ranger in there and the regular Pink Ranger in there, so they still both have the little cockpits there, which is still pretty cool, and of course can rest on making these little legs with the cannons that become kind of the hands for tank mode, and also just cannons for regular Megazord mode. And here are the tank modes. So this was definitely a very complicated thing to get together for this photo here, but in amazement, I actually got the Pterodactyls to clip onto both of them and the Mastodon heads to clip onto both of them for now. We'll see how long this ends up actually holding together. But yeah, I mean, that is the color scheme with the both of them here, and I don't know which one I like better in this regard. Like I'm going to say a lot in the Megazord part as well when I get to that next. I think that the uniformity of the black and gold definitely looks really nice, but I also do kind of like how this one is. Although I will say I'm definitely biased towards this one, because of my personal like my version of these. For some reason, the Megazord, the proper color one that I have, holds together in tank mode a lot better than my black and gold one does. But that's just because my black and gold one, it's nearly impossible to get the Mastodon head and Pterodactyl to clip in. This one it's difficult, but this one I was able to get the Mastodon head to clip in much easier than the Pterodactyl to balance and rest in there for much more longer of a period of time. So, you know, in that regard, I'm definitely going to be leaning more towards that one. But tank mode doesn't always look amazing. It still doesn't really look amazing here in either one of these color schemes. But it's still cool that they still include it as something you can do with these, for however, you know, many people actually like this mode. Like I said, it's never been my most favorite mode, but it's always been something that I've always thought was somewhat interesting that you can do with like every single version of this toy. And here it is in both of the ZAP color schemes. Alright, so here it is, the most important comparison between these two things: Megazord mode. So obviously we have the regular colored 0101 Megazord here, and we have the 1.2 or the 0101.2 black and gold one locked to the NFT. So of course these are the same exact molds, just the color scheme is different. And They both look really good, I think, next to each other. I definitely prefer the black and gold color scheme of the NFT one here. I think that it just really pops with like that kind of uniform black and gold color to it. But of course, this is iconic. This is, of course, you know, what you think of when you think of the Dino Megazord. You think of this color scheme with red, black, blue, yellow, pink. I guess you don't really see much pink on this one, really ever in that design, but you know what I mean. But basically, I kind of said this in my original video about this one before I even had this one, but I do think that the kind of liberties that Hasbro took to the design, specifically the little kind of grid pattern or honeycomb kind of pattern that are on both of the Pterodactyls, I think blends in and works a little bit better with the black and gold, because since this is already a color scheme that never shows up on screen anyway, it already is something that doesn't exist. So when you kind of add some extra sort of detailing to it, like that, or to like the little translucent kind of pieces in the Mastodon, I think it kind of works. And also in this one, it is still sort of translucent plastic on the ends, but the red is definitely a lot more, it pops a lot more with that translucent there. Here, it kind of just blends in, and I think that it does look a little bit better here. But as you can see, we have differences like in the Mastodon trunks there, or on the whole shield in general there, where you kind of have very similar kind of detailing. This one looks a little cheap with the all black trunk compared to the silver kind of grayish trunk. I like the sword probably better on the regular one, although I do really like that black and gold sword that we have here. I feel like with the black paint kind of in the center there, it really kind of loses all that intricate detail that is absolutely molded in there. And then kind of panning down a little bit, I have the accessories kind of laying out there, but looking at the two, leg modes here in comparison, once again, I think that this definitely looks nicer. I didn't really talk about it in my main video for this one, with the whole translucent pieces there on the rectangles. It's the same way on the black and gold one, of course, but I think that it does just kind of pop a little bit more. Also, I feel like, do I have these cannons flipped backwards? I might. They're definitely not facing the same way on those, because I never really got this one, its cannons to be able to move. I know that they can. Let me try to crack in those cannon joints. Watch me break this right on camera. Yeah, this one, there we go. So I had to give it a little bit of some force, and I'm definitely bumping into the tripod right now, but I got it to finally do it. Alright, that was a little nerve-wracking, but anyway, coming back to the task at hand here, I do think that, like I said, kind of the whole thing with this, overall, I prefer the color scheme of the black and gold, but you can't obviously, ignore the originality, the iconicness of the regular color scheme. And of course, when people are buying this, they're probably going to want the actual original color scheme compared to this special edition black and gold, especially with like the little rangers down here, which I will try to take a better look at in a minute. But you have the all colored to their actual ranger colors, and then here they're just all gold, which makes sense and it works for this special release kind of thing. But it obviously just makes it feel a little bit more special when you have them actually be their proper colors. The hands, 100% the exact same. They're the only thing in this toy that is the exact same color and everything. I mean, obviously this entire thing shares the exact same mold between the two, with no differences in that regard. But the biggest differences in this toy, of course, are also the box compared to the color scheme, which we took a look at a little bit ago. But these hands are exactly the same. They're the same hands. I'm happy that I'm just trying to keep them separate so that they don't get swapped around. I know these are the two that came with this one, and these are the two that came with that one. But yeah, same thing with the hands that are actually on the Megazord itself. There's nothing different about those whatsoever. And then right there we have a side profile, the best that I was able to fit into the shot between the two of them. So I definitely like the side of the, I must have called that the Triceratops, the Sabertooth, how it's just a little bit more colorful than this one. You kind of lose, like they did actually make like that black spot there gold, which is kind of interesting. It's always kind of interesting to see kind of what they changed, what they made black and gold. And also some things they kept red, like the top of the Sabertooth there. And they actually changed the color of the eyes, I think, maybe? Or no, the red just pops more on these. And then you kept the red there and everything like that. So it's just kind of interesting to see kind of how they changed kind of things. Kind of making sure you can sort of see the little pieces that always like to fly off. They are essentially the same exact thing. They didn't really change the color of those much at all, except for the actual like general, back of them or the shape of them. Or not, what I'm talking about. Like the actual piece itself is gold now instead of silver, but the paint detailing is basically the same. This is definitely more of a yellow, this is definitely more of a gold, but it definitely kind of virtually looks quite identical, kind of looking at it on this side. They kept the red there on the little Mastodon legs, which is nice. And yeah, that is the side profile. And here is the other side profile, which I do like details that they still kept like the detailing on the side of the Triceratops, but made it gold and everything there. The whole, like the Mastodon shields look pretty similar. They did make that yellow line work actually gold this time, and they changed the eye color and everything. And it's kind of interesting that they didn't make the tusks gold, since like these are all silver. You would think that maybe this would be all gold, but they kept they made the tusk black and made the little trunks. Or no, I flipped it around. They made the trunk black and they made the tusks gold, which I definitely think is quite interesting there. The head, I think, kind of gets lost in kind of all the black that they added there. You know, since they made all the red black and they kept the black black. I think it kind of just makes it feel like it's got a little bit lost in the shuffle of the whole color, but it's not too terrible. But you know, this side is not as, I would say it's as exciting as the other side. Not that the other side profile was very exciting for any particular reason, but here is the other side of the Megazord. And then, of course, finally is the back of the Megazord, which I definitely think looks a lot more bland on the black and gold, just because some of the things that sort of pop on this side, like the yellow, or which they actually did not make gold there, which is interesting. Like the yellow that pops there, or like really like the black tires and treads that are painted there, kind of just make the back of this one stand out a little bit more. And when you keep that black paint onto this black one, it, you know, kind of just makes it kind of blend in. Although on here it's definitely paint, and this is like actually like molded plastic, I think. I don't think this is painted black. It wouldn't really make sense for it to be, since the whole thing is kind of cast in black plastic or gold plastic, depending on where the piece is. So that's kind of interesting to kind of look at there. But for the most part, it's, you know, I definitely still prefer this one on the back, especially because like right here you have like this lost detail, to where like you have the little black tip on the tail. And of course, since this is just cast in black plastic, you don't really notice that whatsoever. So it just kind of makes this one feel a little bit more, look a little bit cheaper on the back than that one does, just because this one is painted so well on the back. But you know, they do make the black and gold color scheme work on here. Although I still kind of thought, just kind of in general, that the gold on here is a little duller than it kind of looked in some of the promo shots with the NFT. But you know, for the most part, like I said, I do prefer the presentation of this one, but of course this one is always going to kind of sort of win in the end, just because it's, you know, what we know it to be. And the final little thing to show off, literally, is the tiny little rangers included. So as you can see, they molded them in very nice, like, distinct poses, which you can see in both versions. But of course, on the regular one, they've made them the actual ranger colors that they are. And for the special version, they're just all solid gold. But I think there's still really cool inclusions for both of them there. It's also neat that they are the same poses. It would have been kind of interesting if they made them different poses for this, but I never would have expected that, especially with how tiny that they are. The fact that you get these in the first place is just cool, nonetheless. I do probably prefer them actually with their proper colors than just all gold, because it makes it a lot more difficult to try to tell who's supposed to be who here compared to this one where it's pretty obvious. But still, nonetheless, it's really cool that these are something that they're including with all these ZAP Zords with this one and going forward. And with that is going to do it for my comparison between the MZ0101 and the MZ0101.2 Zord Ascension Project Lightning Collection Dino Megazords. So yeah, in the end, they are both pretty okay products, relatively solid. I obviously have a lot of bitter feelings towards the NFT one for a number of different reasons, and the main one, you know, has its QC problems, tons of breakage issues and everything. But if you have both of them, obviously I have to recommend this one over this one, especially because this one you can only get on the aftermarket now for crazy prices, and this one you can get for kind of on sale and stuff like that right now and everything. I am very curious to see how this is going to look with Dragonzord, which I will combine it with in my Dragonzord video when I get that one done sometime soon. I have it on the way from Pulse right now. But I thought it'd be kind of fun to just, now that I have both of them, to show them off in a video together, because I'm not really sure how many people are going to have both of them, especially with how rare this one is. I thought it was worth showing it off. So be sure to check out my videos on both of these guys if you want them in full detail and everything like that, and actually showing like how to combine them and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, I thought it'd just be a fun little thing to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LiveRangerKey or at LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all later.